She texted, "I told my parents we're engaged, surprise. Now you have to propose for real." We'd never discussed marriage. I replied, "Congratulations on your news." Then I sent her parents a message. "I'm not sure what she told you, but we're actually breaking up." When her mom called her crying. Original post. I, 29 male, have been dating my girlfriend for 14 months. We met through mutual friends at a birthday party, hit it off, started dating exclusively after about 6 weeks. Things were good, not perfect, but good. We had fun together, had decent communication, and I genuinely cared about her. What we did not have was any serious conversation about marriage. I'm not opposed to marriage. I like to get married someday, have kids, the whole deal. But 14 months isn't long enough for me to know if someone is the one. I believe in taking time, building a foundation, actually knowing who you're committing to before you make a lifelong promise. My girlfriend, apparently, had a different timeline in mind. Her younger sister got engaged 3 months ago. Big proposal, fancy ring, the whole Instagram-worthy spectacle. Ever since then, my girlfriend has been making comments. Nothing too direct at first, just things like, "Wow, they're so happy," and "I wonder when our turn will be," and "My mom keeps asking about you." I brushed it off. We hadn't even said, "I love you," until month 10. Moving to engagement talk at month 14 seemed premature, to say the least. Then, last Tuesday, I got a text that stopped me cold. So I did something crazy. I told my parents we're engaged. They were so excited. Surprise. Now you have to propose for real, so it's official. Maybe this weekend? I already told my mom you're traditional and want to ask my dad's permission first. You can call him tonight. I read that text about 15 times, convinced I was misunderstanding something. She had told her parents, her actual parents, who I'd met exactly twice, that we were engaged, without asking me, without us ever discussing marriage, without a ring, a proposal, or any kind of mutual agreement. And her solution was that I should just make it real. Propose for real this weekend to match the lie she'd already told. I sat with that text for about 2 hours. Part of me wanted to call her immediately and demand an explanation. Part of me wanted to believe this was some kind of joke. Part of me was just, Eventually, I replied, "Congratulations on your news." 3 words, deliberately ambiguous. I wanted to see how she'd respond before I made any decisions. She sent back a string of happy emojis, and OMG, I knew you'd be excited. She thought I was playing along. She genuinely believed that telling her parents we were engaged would box me into actually proposing. That's when I realized this wasn't a momentary lapse in judgment. This was manipulation. Calculated, deliberate manipulation designed to force a life decision I wasn't ready to make. I opened Facebook and found her mom's profile. We weren't friends, but her messages were open. I typed carefully, "Hi, this is my name, girlfriend, boyfriend. I'm not sure what she told you, but I wanted you to hear the truth from me directly. We are not engaged. We have never discussed engagement. I did not propose, and I was not planning to propose. I'm very sorry if this is confusing or hurtful, but I didn't want you to be misled. Additionally, after this situation, I think it's best that girlfriend and I go our separate ways. I wish you and your family well." I sent it before I could second-guess myself. Then I sat back and waited. About 40 minutes later, my phone exploded. First, a text from my girlfriend. "Why is my mom calling me crying? What did you do?" Then another. "Did you tell her we're not engaged?" Then, "You were supposed to just go with it." Then, "I can't believe you would humiliate me like this." Then, "Call me right now." I didn't call. Instead, I replied, "You humiliated yourself by lying to your parents." I just told them the truth. This was supposed to be romantic. There's nothing romantic about being manipulated into a proposal. I wasn't manipulating you. I was giving you a push. You were taking too long. 14 months is not too long. And if you thought it was, the answer was to have a conversation with me, not to lie to your family. This is insane. You're overreacting. Just call my mom and tell her it was a misunderstanding. Tell her you were planning to propose, but wanted to wait for the right moment. We can fix this. No. What do you mean, no? I mean, no. I'm not lying to cover up your lie. And I'm not proposing to someone who thinks this is an acceptable way to treat a partner. We're done. She called me 16 times that night. I didn't answer. By morning, I had 28 texts, most of them ranging from pleading to furious. The last one said, "Fine. If you want to throw away everything we had over one mistake, that's on you. But don't come crawling back when you realize what you lost." I haven't responded. I don't plan to. I'm still processing all of this. 14 months isn't nothing. There are good times, real feelings, moments I thought we were building something. And now it's just gone because she decided her timeline mattered more than my consent. I'll update if anything else happens, but honestly, I'm hoping the silence means it's over. Update 1, 5 days later. So much for hoping the silence meant it was over. After my last post, I spent a few days just laying low. Went to work, came home, processed my feelings, started mentally adjusting to being single again. My friends were supportive. My family thought I made the right call. I was starting to feel like I might actually be okay. Then her family got involved. It started with her dad. He called me on Thursday evening, and I made the mistake of answering because I didn't recognize the number. "This is girlfriend, as father. We need to talk." "Sir, I'm not sure there's much to talk about. You embarrassed my daughter in front of our entire family. You made her look like a liar." "With respect, sir, she did lie. She made a mistake. She got excited and jumped the gun. That's not a reason to end a relationship. She told you we were engaged when we never even discussed marriage. That's not jumping the gun. That's fabricating a major life event. You could have handled it privately instead of messaging her mother." "I could have, but then you'd still believe we were engaged, and I'd be trapped in a lie I never agreed to. So you'd rather destroy my daughter than have an uncomfortable conversation? I'd rather not be manipulated into a marriage proposal by someone who doesn't respect my autonomy." He hung up on me. Fair enough. The next day, I got a message from her sister, the one who got engaged 3 months ago and apparently started this whole mess. "Hey, I know things are complicated right now, but I think you're being really unfair to my sister. She loves you so much, and she just wanted to move the relationship forward. Can you guys please talk? She's been crying for days." I replied, "She lied to your entire family about being engaged. That's not moving the relationship forward. That's lying. She made a mistake. People make mistakes when they're in love. People in love have conversations. They don't fabricate engagements and then demand their partners make it real. You're being so cold. I can't believe you're the same person she's been raving about for over a year. I'm the same person. I'm just not willing to be pressured into marriage by deception." She left me on read after that. But here's where things got really interesting. 2 days ago, my girlfriend showed up at my apartment. I was home alone, watching TV, when I heard knocking. Figured it was my neighbor asking to borrow something. Opened the door, and there she was. "We need to talk." "I don't think we do. Please, just give me 10 minutes. Against my better judgment, I let her in. She sat on my couch, the same couch where we'd watched movies together, where she'd fallen asleep on my shoulder, where I'd started to imagine a future with her, and looked at me with red-rimmed eyes. "I know I messed up," she started. "I know I shouldn't have told my parents without talking to you first. Okay, but you have to understand where I was coming from. My sister got engaged, and everyone kept asking when it would be our turn, and I felt so much pressure. So you created a fake engagement to relieve that pressure. I didn't think of it as fake. I thought if I just got things started, you'd catch up. You'd see how happy everyone was, and you'd want to make it real. That's not how relationships work. I know that now. But I panicked, and I made a bad decision, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Can we please just start over? Pretend this never happened." I thought about it. Really thought about it. No. Why not? Because I can't trust you. You made a massive decision about our relationship, telling your entire family we were getting married, without consulting me at all. You expected me to just go along with it. You weren't sorry about lying. You were sorry you got caught. That's not true. You texted me, "Now you have to propose for real." Those were your exact words. You thought you could force my hand. I didn't mean it like that. How else could you possibly mean it? She didn't have an answer. "I think you should go," I said. She cried, begged me to reconsider, promised she'd never do anything like this again, that she'd go to therapy, that she'd do whatever it took to rebuild my trust. But here's the thing. I believed her. I believed she was sorry. I believed she regretted her actions. I just didn't believe she'd change. Because the entitlement that led her to fabricate an engagement, the belief that her timeline mattered more than my consent, that she could manipulate me into major life decisions, that wasn't a one-time mistake. That was a worldview. And worldviews don't change because of one uncomfortable conversation. She left in tears. I felt terrible, but I also felt certain. This relationship was over. Update 2, 9 days later. I thought after she left my apartment, things would finally settle down. I was wrong. Over the next week, my ex launched what I can only describe as a campaign to either get me back or destroy my reputation. Maybe both. It started with the mutual friends. We have a shared social circle from when we started dating. Most of them are originally her friends, but I've become close with a few of them over the past year. Within days of the apartment conversation, I started getting texts. Hey, she told me what happened. I think you're being too harsh. Dude, she made one mistake. Everyone deserves a second chance. She said you humiliated her in front of her entire family. That seems really cruel. I responded to each one the same way. I explained what actually happened, that she told her parents we were engaged without ever discussing it with me, that she expected me to just make it real, that I simply told her parents the truth. Some of them understood. A few apologized for jumping to conclusions, but others doubled down. Even if that's true, you could have handled it better. Marriage is about compromise. Maybe you should have just proposed to keep the peace. She clearly loves you. Why can't you see that? I stopped responding after that. You can't reason with people who think keeping the peace is worth marrying someone who manipulated you. Then came the extended family angle. My ex's aunt, someone I'd met exactly once at a family barbecue, found me on social media and sent me a lengthy message about how I'd destroyed her niece's mental health and shamed her in front of the entire family. She demanded I apologize publicly and make things right. I didn't respond, just blocked her. But here's where it got really wild. 4 days ago, I was at work. I'm a project coordinator for a construction company. Nothing fancy, but steady work, when I got called into my supervisor's office. Hey, got a weird call this morning. Someone asking about you. Who? Didn't leave a name. Said they were a concerned friend and wanted to know if we knew about your history of emotional abuse. My stomach dropped. That's not true. At all. I figured. But I wanted to give you a heads up in case it escalates. I thanked him and spent the rest of the day feeling sick. Someone, and I had a pretty good idea who, had called my workplace to try to get me in trouble. When I got home, I texted my ex directly for the first time since she left my apartment. Did you call my job and accuse me of emotional abuse? She replied quickly, I don't know what you're talking about. Someone called my supervisor claiming to be a concerned friend, asking about my history of emotional abuse. Well, it wasn't to me. Then who was it? Maybe one of my friends or family members who's worried about you. You've been acting really erratic. I've been acting erratic? You fabricated an engagement and then tried to ruin my job when I wouldn't play along. I didn't call your job. Stop being paranoid. I didn't believe her, but I also couldn't prove it, so I let it go. The next day, I got a text from an unknown number. You messed with the wrong family. This isn't over. I screenshotted it and saved it. Then I did something I should have done from the beginning. I documented everything. Every text from her, her family, her friends. Every social media message. The voicemail from her dad. The report from my supervisor about the call to my workplace. All of it, saved in a folder, organized by date. And then I did something else. I reached out to her younger sister's fiancé. We'd met a few times at family events, and he'd seemed like a reasonable guy. I sent him a brief message explaining the situation from my perspective, not to start drama, but to make sure at least one person in that family had the full picture. He responded within an hour. Man, I had no idea it was like this. She told everyone you got cold feet and panicked. Nobody mentioned the fake engagement thing. She told her parents we were engaged without ever discussing it with me. Then she expected me to just propose to make it real. That's really messed up. Yeah, I just wanted someone in your family to know the truth. I appreciate you reaching out. I'm going to talk to my fiancé about this. 2 days later, I got a message from him again. So I talked to my fiancé. She didn't know the real story either. She thought you'd actually proposed and then backed out. When I told her what really happened, she was furious at her sister, not you. They had a big fight about it yesterday. I'm sorry to cause problems in your family. You didn't cause anything. Her sister lied to everyone and let you take the blame. That's on her. He also told me something else. The concerned friend who called my workplace? It wasn't my ex. It was her mom. Apparently, her mom had been on a mission to protect her daughter by making my life difficult. She'd been the one encouraging the text from extended family, the one suggesting that someone should let his employer know what kind of person he is, the one turning the entire family against me. And her mom was about to face some consequences. Final update, 12 days later. This is going to be my final update because things have reached a conclusion and honestly, I'm ready to move on. After finding out that my ex's mom was the one who called my workplace, I made a decision. I wasn't going to just let this slide. First, I gathered all my documentation, screenshots of every threatening or harassing message, the notes from my supervisor about the phone call, the text from the unknown number threatening me, timestamps on everything. Then I consulted with a lawyer, paid $200 for a 1-hour consultation to understand my options. His assessment. The workplace call could potentially constitute tortious interference, someone deliberately trying to damage your employment through false statements. The texts from extended family were unpleasant but not actionable. The threatening text from the unknown number was potentially harassment, but would be hard to prove who sent it. His recommendation: send a cease and desist letter to my ex and her family, specifically addressing the workplace call and demanding that all contacts stop immediately. If they continued, I'd have grounds for a restraining order. I had him draft the letter. It cost me $350, but it was worth it. The letter went out via certified mail to my ex, her mom, and her dad. It laid out everything: the fabricated engagement, the harassment campaign, the phone call to my employer with false accusations of abuse. It demanded that all contacts cease immediately and warned that any further interference with my employment or reputation would result in legal action. The responses were immediate, but not to me directly. According to the sister's fiancé, who'd become my informal source of information, the letter caused a complete meltdown in their household. The dad was furious that the situation had escalated to lawyers. He apparently had no idea his wife had called my workplace. When he found out, there was a massive fight about making things worse and going too far. The mom tried to defend herself by saying she was protecting her daughter, but even the dad thought calling someone's employer was crossing a line. And my ex? She apparently blamed everyone but herself. Her parents for getting involved, her sister for taking my side, me for making a big deal out of nothing. Classic. But here's the part that actually mattered to me. The contacts stopped. No more texts from extended family. No more messages from flying monkeys. No more calls to my workplace. The cease and desist letter did exactly what it was supposed to do. It put everyone on notice that their actions had legal consequences, and they backed off. 3 days after the letter arrived, I got one final communication, not from my ex, but from her mom. It came through Facebook, a short message. I apologize for calling your employer. It was wrong of me. I was upset about my daughter, and I let that cloud my judgment. I won't contact you again. I didn't respond, but I did screenshot it just in case. That apology, not from my ex, but from her mom, told me everything I needed to know. The mom was the only one in that family capable of recognizing when she'd gone too far. My ex never apologized, never acknowledged that fabricating an engagement was wrong, never took any responsibility for the chaos she'd created. According to the sister's fiancé, my ex has been telling people that I overreacted and that all couples have misunderstandings. She's already started dating again, some guy from her gym, apparently. I hope she doesn't try the same stunt on him. As for me, I'm doing okay. Better than okay, actually. The whole experience was brutal, but it also clarified something important. I know what I won't accept in a relationship. I won't accept being manipulated. I won't accept being pressured into major life decisions. I won't accept someone who thinks lying to their family to force my hand is romantic. My standards are higher now. That's not a bad thing. Some people in the comments on my earlier posts asked if I regretted not just going along with the fake engagement. If maybe, in hindsight, I should have proposed and seen if things worked out. Absolutely not. Marrying someone who manipulated me into the proposal would have been a disaster. Every future disagreement would have been shadowed by the knowledge that she was willing to lie and scheme to get what she wanted. Every time I felt pressured, I'd remember that she thought trapping me was acceptable. I didn't dodge a bullet. I dodged a missile. The suit I bought for a wedding I thought might happen someday, I'm keeping it. Not because I'm hoping to propose to someone soon, but because I work hard for it and I deserve to have nice things. I'll wear it to my cousin's wedding next month. Maybe someone there will appreciate it. Thanks for following this whole mess, everyone. Your comments kept me sane when I was questioning myself. You reminded me that my boundaries weren't unreasonable, that my reaction wasn't cold, and that I deserved better than someone who saw manipulation as romance. I'm logging off from this account now. Time to start fresh.